Uh, we're Again, we're just getting information in regards to internet on the island. This session will be recorded, or is being recorded. Also, what we will do with this outage, and I know there's interest, we will set up another session where we can show the recording or go through the presentation and allow for question and answers. So we will set up another time. You'll just have to come on to our website to see the date and that of when that's done, and we'll also make sure we get some information out to the island to when that session is going to be set up. Welcome. Probably the worst night for the internet to go down, and we apologize. It's nothing. It's out of our hands, but we know this has been a long time in coming. So we apologize that it's taken place on a night that's not working for some people. Okay, with it getting to 7:05, we will start. And as I said, we are aware of the issues, so we will look into setting up another session so that people who are unfortunately unable to attend tonight's session will be able to ask the questions that they may possibly have that can't get answered via being unable to log in. So oops, I'm just going to put this in. Oops. Sorry, just working my screens here. Okay, so welcome and thank you for attending tonight's Renewable Energy Vibrancy Policy Public Information Session. In way of introductions, my name's Debbie Chapman. I'm Director of Corporate Services, the Township Clerk, and with me is Megan Shannon, the Deputy Clerk. Before I hand this over to Megan, I just wanted to provide some clarification that the intent for tonight's session is to review the policy, the subcommittee terms of reference, and hopefully answer any questions or make note of questions if we're unable to answer them in regards to the policy. And at that point, I will hand this over to Megan. I am going to share my screen and we'll save questions and that for the end. We'll ask people to raise their hand. As we said, it is being recorded, and enjoy.
Thanks, Debbie. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Renewable Energy Vibrancy Policy Public Information Session. And as Debbie mentioned before, my name is Megan, and I am the Deputy Clerk for Loyalist Township. The purpose of the session is to provide an overview of the Renewable Energy Vibrancy Policy and relevant committees. It will also outline the eligibility and guidelines and application process. The agenda for the session consists of what is a policy, the Renewable Energy Vibrancy Policy and Review Committee, eligibility and guidelines, and how do I apply? What is a policy? Policies are rules, principles, guidelines, or frameworks that are adopted by an organization to achieve long-term goals. Organizations develop policies that guide the way they operate. The Renewable Energy Vibrancy Policy establishes principles, standards, and guidelines for the maintenance and accounting of the funding received through the Community Benefit Agreement with Wind Electric Inc. and the Community Vibrancy Fund Agreement with Kingston Solar GP Inc. The policy sets guidelines for the use of funds during and beyond the terms of agreements with the intent to provide financial assistance to local community groups and organizations within Loyalist Township. The policy and terms of reference for the review committees have been approved by Council. The policy shall be reviewed by Council on an as-needed basis. However, it will be reviewed no later than every 5 years. Eligible applicants are able to apply to 2 funding programs, the Community Grant Stream and the Renewable Energy Benefit Fund. The Community Grant Stream provides funding assistance for projects that enhance and enrich the community. The Renewable Energy Benefit Fund provides funding for capital and other eligible projects that enhance and enrich the community. The Renewable Energy Vibrancy Review Committee is an administrative committee that is representative of the community and is recognized as the legitimate means for reviewing grant applications and making sound recommendations to Council. The review committee plays an important role by enabling the community to participate more directly in the decision-making process. It is comprised of 2 subcommittees, Ward 1 Island Subcommittee and Ward 2 and 3 Subcommittee. Terms of reference. Ward 1 Island Subcommittee should be composed of up to 6 members, consisting of 5 members of the general public from Ward 1, together with 1 council member from Ward 1. Ward 2 and 3 Subcommittee should be composed of up to 6 members, consisting of 4 members of the general public from Wards 2 and 3, together with 2 council members from Wards 2 and 3. Members of the general public from all wards must be knowledgeable about the nonprofit sector and have contributed to the community. Eligibility and guidelines. Applicants, except for local elementary and secondary schools, must be community groups and organizations. Organizations must be based in Loyalist Township or have ongoing activities that provide a clear benefit to Loyalist Township. Memberships and programs must be open to all residents in Loyalist Township. An organization may apply for a grant more than once, but the granting of financial assistance in any year is not to be regarded as a commitment by the municipality to continue such assistance in future years. How do I apply? Applications for the first funding period will be available the first Monday in the month of January and due no later than February 1st of the same year. Applications for the second funding period will be made available the first Monday in the month of May and due no later than June 1st of the same year. Applications shall be submitted on the appropriate application form and should indicate which funding stream is being applied for, which is found on Schedule A of this policy. Application forms will be available at the municipal office located at 263 Main Street, Odessa, and on the municipal website. That concludes the presentation. Thank you for listening. At this time, we will answer any questions you may have.
So those in attendance, if you wish to speak, if you could raise your hand in the chat and or type in the question and answer, we can allow, oops, let me just, sorry, we have one, oops. Oh gosh, I hope we had one and I hope I didn't, or maybe lost their internet. Okay, we have Janice. You'll just have to unmute, Janice. There you go.
Good evening. I'm just curious in terms of what the total, is there a total fund that the amount of the fund that we're applying into, or is that variable?
The amount of the fund is set through what's received by council, through the agreements. We can make sure we get that set out and on the website to outline what the amounts are.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Michelle, I hope I wasn't the one that disconnected you there.
No, I'm fine. Do you hear me?
We do.
Yes. You've talked briefly about the membership of the committee for the boat subcommittee, and I wonder when the members and how the members of these committee will be appointed, and what is the length of their mandate?
Good question. So the applications, we will be having it online, available online for the public to apply to the subcommittees. There will be once the applications come in, there will be a set time. Those applications are presented to council in closed session based on personal information. A recommendation will come from council into open session for the appointments. I believe, and I don't have it right in front of me, I believe it's till the end of term of council, and then it would be reset.
So when are these, when is it set to go to council for appointment? Because my understanding is that the applicant for the grant money is in January. So should I assume that this committee will be formed before January?
Yes, as soon as this, so our direction was to have the public information session to present this, and then the intent will be to advertise again in regards to the applications with deadlines, where to apply, and then it would be presented to council at the earliest in one of their meetings in November. Sorry on that one. And
the criterias for people to apply, is this public now? So if you say, being part of the community and having knowledge of nonprofit, are these the only two criterias?
So it depends on, yes, depending on which subcommittee that you're applying for. So there's two subcommittees as was outlined, and basically the applications will come in and council will review them. They did make it clear in regards to the requirements that they would look at anyone that was making application to the committees.
Thank you.
Okay. Janice, did you have another question, or did I just not lower your hand? Did you have another question, Janice?
No, you just didn't lower my hand.
Oh, okay, thank you.
We have a few questions in the Q&A, Debbie.
Okay.
One of them is from an anonymous attendee. Are there provisions for making low/no interest loans against the principal of the fund?
I think the application, through the application, it basically provides what information they would need. The purpose of the subcommittee is they will review those applications and make a recommendation to council. So it's hard to speak clearly on that without knowing the background on it. But if you have a particular circumstance, then just send that in to us and we'll try and get you an answer for that if you email it to us and provide an email that we can get the information back to you.
And then we have two follow-up questions from the same attendee. How does one apply to be a member of the review committee?
So there will be an application online, and we will post that as well on the website on how to apply. And we will also have paper copies if somebody wishes to make a written application. So if you can check our website, we'll have all that information up following tonight's meeting. Is there a set of criteria awaiting for which constitutes a submission to be approved? The criteria and the weighting, again, all applications come into the subcommittee, and part of the mandate is that all applications are presented to council, whether they're recommended or not recommended in regards to. So I'm not really sure that there's a weighting on that part of it, but they do go through the subcommittee before going to council. You're very welcome. Anyone else have any questions? Again, we know some people may not have been able to attend tonight, so we will look at putting up another opportunity. However, I will follow up with to make sure that we can go ahead and at least put the application process and that on the website so that we can start that process as well. I would imagine that we'd be aiming for the second meeting in November to be able to present those applications to council. Can we talk about the maximum amounts? We will have to get that information, Michelle, just in regards to there is set amounts that are received by the municipality, and just from the application or from the policy itself. Oops, sorry, I'm in the wrong one. So the renewable energy, the annual contribution shall be allocated as follows. So 25% of the funds will be put into a reserve fund for future use. 15% of the fund will be used for the community grant funding stream, and 60% of the funds will be used for the renewable energy benefit funding stream. So part of that is we can again put on the information, so a maximum of 5,000 per organization per year, and I'm not sure that that's, you're wanting to know the actual maximum amount of the annual grant. We will talk to finance on that and get that information up and respond back to you on that, Michelle. Same with, is the township allowed to apply for the capital grant? I believe the policy allows for infrastructure uses to be submitted and go through the process the same as any project, if I'm not mistaken. But we will get that clarified as well. Sorry, there's another. Will the committee members be given a set of guidelines as to what is desired in a grantable request? Will these be available? Again, because this is a new process, I don't believe there's guidelines as to what's the desired amount, because I think it depends on the applications that come in for the funding. So that will be part of the subcommittee having to, look at all of the applications and make a recommendation to council on the funds and how that's going to look. I think it'll be part of, part of the details that are in the application on, whether it's 100% of the application amount, and again, depending on what the total amount is, which the subcommittees will have in advance. I hope that answered. How did this fund get started, and what is the difference between this fund and the grant that we would have received previously from the township? So the implementation of this policy was based on community funds that are received from solar and wind projects, and they're into a community fund. They're in reserve right now, and I don't believe any has been spent out of that reserve. So the difference is that through the community fund that organizations applied for before was through the budget process, so that money was budgeted and came out of tax revenue. The intent of the renewable energy vibrancy policy is that grants will be going through this policy and will be distributed that way. Michelle, we'll have to get you the total amount. I know it's in one of the reports that was presented. I just don't have it in front of me yet, but we will get that and make sure we have that outlined for individuals to see. And whoops, we just have Ida that wishes to speak. So I'm just going to allow Ida to speak. You'll just have to unmute, Ida.
I'm working on that.
There you go.
Unmuted. To the best of my knowledge, Ward 1 is only allowed 25% of the wind electric funds. And at this point in time, there's been $1.5 million approximately submitted from Algonquin Power. Is Amherst Island Ward 1 allowed to have 25% of that amount with the first application process?
I believe, so the funding programs from the community benefit agreement with wind electric, 25% and only 25% of the funds from the wind electric project would be allocated over the 20-year period. The remaining 75% is allocated towards 2 and 3. I believe the Community Vibrancy Fund shall ensure the majority of the Community Vibrancy Fund for the equivalent of the first 5 years, which was in the agreement, was for wards 2 and 3.
So the $1.5 million that's sitting there, the 25% of that for Ward 1, can we apply for a lump sum for those 3 years?
We will have to get clarification on that.
Thank you very much. That was my question. Have a good evening.
Thanks, you too. I'm confused as to the difference between the two funds. Can you give some examples as to what would fit in one but not the other, and why? So under the policy, oops, I'm just going back to the streams here. So I believe the one, as was in the presentation, is more on capital. So that would be more along capital projects would be, again, if we use what I think somebody else had asked in regards to, would the township be able to use it? So if there was a request for a again, this would be for the island, but say that there was a community building or something like that, then the request could be put in for funding under the capital portion, and the other would be more for in-kind services or to get a program going, to help a program out, to offer a smaller program, that type of thing. We can try and get some more clear definitions up there in regards to examples of what people would apply for. I think on that, if people are wanting to put applications in, again, they can put them in, and if it's in the wrong one, I would imagine that the committee will look at that and be able to advise the organizations that are submitting to possibly change their application on that. So the questions from Joan are related to the policy itself. And again, as was stated, council sets a policy. So I know there's meetings that are live streamed and available on the website that if people want to go back and watch those videos, they'd be able to get the discussion around the policy in regards to what the why the policy was approved as it was. Is it common practice to dissolve a committee that was created by council? Again, council has that ability to create or dissolve policies and or create or dissolve committees. So that would be at council's discretion of what they would look at in future. And we will clarify for Ward 1 that they will be able to access a reserve fund that's available after the 20 years. My understanding is yes, but we will get that for sure to make sure that's clear. Again, these are great questions, and it just, again, helps us to be able to make the website better in being able to make clarifying remarks on that to ensure that people do have those answers. Ida, do you have another question, or did I forget to lower your hand as well? Sorry,
You forgot to lower my hand.
Okay, I thought so. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Was there any other questions, or did we try to get all of those answered? Also, if you have other information that you would like us to put up or make sure that's on the website, please email clerk@loyalist.ca. That goes to both Megan and myself, and we'll make sure that we can make that page the best page it can be in regards to opportunities for organizations to make those applications in for funding. We'll make sure we do get the amounts up there as well, because that is nice to know, and as well the applications for the committees. So one more question, assuming one submits in January and it's approved, what date would we see the release of funds? I believe it's submitted in January. The decision is end of February or beginning of February, Megan.
Yeah.
And then there would be again, then it would go to the committee to make the recommendations to council. So I would think it would be, again, probably a month or two before it would get to council. There are two opportunities. So before it used to be one opportunity. I believe this year, just because of the so when the policy was written, the dates were included in there. It may be something that we would be able to bring forward to council, a report just to look for further directions, just based on the timing by the time the committee gets in and the applications get in. So that's a good comment that's made, and we'll bring that to council's attention as well. Realistically, 1st of April check in the mail. Probably that but that may seem like a good date to put. Anyone else wish to ask questions? We're here. We're as I said, we've made notes of any of the ones that we can't answer live here, and we will try to get those up within the next day or two on our website. Okay, I don't see any more, so we won't keep you. We didn't want to make this, we didn't want to take up too much of your time tonight. But as I said, with us knowing that there has been issues with the internet on the island, we will set this up again. So please keep tabs on the website, and or if you want to let us know of anyone that's wishing to, we will set that up and get a date and time for everyone to be able to log back in. And if you come up with other questions, you're more than welcome to join again. As well, this video will go up on the website for anybody who wasn't able to at least view it, to see some of the questions that were asked. All right, with that, we'll say thank you again for attending, and we look forward to the applications coming in. Thank you.
Thank you.